Power fantasies. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I love me my power fantasies. There's just something about being able to turn off your brain and watch two people slap the absolute shit out of each other. I'm, sorry, I need help. No, seriously, I need help. I'm sure I'm not the only one that gets physically and audibly hyped when watching an anime or reading a manga when it hits a climactic moment. And although not power fantasy, the last time I felt anything remotely like that was when I watched the finale to Haikyuu to the Top Season 2. But since then, it's been quite a fucking while since I've seen anything that has gotten me that hyped. Now, if you haven't been living under a rock for the past couple of months, avoiding World War III and NFTs, you may have heard of a little series known as Solo Leveling. Or, as I like to call it, Sword Art Online. Degeneracy. Not included. Speaking of degeneracy, I mean Sword Art Online, there's a ton of comparisons to be drawn between the two. Even is going as far as to claim that Solo Leveling is what Sword Art Online should have been. Or at least that's what this guy said. Just to preface, it's actually because of this video that I even started reading Solo Leveling in the first place, so go check him out. His content's pretty fucking funny. And I think this goes without saying, but I'ma just say it anyway. I really did enjoy SAO, especially Season 1. And I do rate it highly, but you can't deny the fact that Solo Leveling did all the same things, but better. Anyways, the series concluded last December after serializing for nearly 4 years, and if I'm gonna be honest, I was pretty bummed out, because it was the first piece of media that I had indulged in for a long time that had gotten me so hyped. And regardless of the controversy following the rushed ending, because it has finally ended, many will be just as quick to fill that void. And that's what this video is about. Filling that power fantasy-less void. Hi, my name's Lewis, but you can call me Kirito Cook. I need help. Now there's a lot of manhwa that share resemblance with Solo Leveling, but most of them not really scratching that power fantasy itch. We saw this following the release of Solo Leveling, resulting in an influx of subpar carbon copies that just makes you look at them with pity and say, and obviously there were exceptions such as Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint and Second Life Ranker, just to name a few. Although these two share a lot of surface level aspects with Solo Leveling, whether it be the use of a stat page or the heavy reliance on inner monologue, when you take a deeper look into them, they both feel completely different from Solo Leveling. Although blatantly inspired, the authors of these manhwa have developed on the foundation of what makes Solo Leveling so great, making their respective series into something that when compared, it's apples and oranges. So if you haven't read these two already, then I highly recommend that you do, because they're absolute bangers. But if you have, then you're probably here because you want to fill that hole of yours with something new. If that's the case, then boy do I know the manhwa for the job. Fuck. I introduced to you, the fuck? The Return of the Disaster Class Hero. With a name like that, I'm not surprised if you think you've heard about this manhwa before, because, well, there's quite a few. But this series is relatively new with only 30-something chapters at the time of recording this, so if you're a binge reader then I suggest you wait a bit longer. With all that said, I came across this series after seeing a couple of panels online and thinking to myself, what's with the smug smile you cheeky little shit? And then it dawned on me. Given the track record of most modern power fantasies, we now have scientific evidence proving that how smug a character looks is directly proportionate to how OP that said character is. Exhibit A, B, and C. And well, at least to me, this dude looks smug as fuck. So, I gave it a shot. And, to my surprise, I found it really fucking interesting. You see, in this world, monsters, called calamities, just appeared out of buttfuck nowhere and RKO'd humanity. In the midst of the chaos, 12 Roman gods appeared, calling themselves the Divine Gods. Talk about stroking your own dick. These Divine Gods promised to aid humans by awakening powers in 12 individuals, along with blessings from the respective gods, labeling them as awakened or saints. These awakened, or saints, were also referred to as the 13 zodiacs. Like, pick a fucking lane! Essentially, each and every one of them was named after the monthly horoscopes, okay? Like, come on, this wouldn't be a modern power fantasy if there wasn't an unexpected twist right at the beginning. And if you're somewhat knowledgeable about horoscopes, then you would know that our protagonist is the, unexpected twist. The 13th awakened. Lee Beom-geun. Besides looking worse than roadkill, he is indeed a saint. One that awakened with no blessings from a god and only bearing overwhelming strength that would even put the likes of Jinnu to shame.
Oh, come on. Sorry.
So basically, for the other saints, he's the guy she tells you not to worry about. Anyway, we get to the start of the manhwa where the war is pretty much reaching a climax. The Zodiacs begin a raid on something that is called the Demon Tower to take down the tower's boss. And when they finally confront the boss, the rest of the saints pretty much peace out, leaving Gon to single-handedly kill the boss within an inch of his life. But in the aftermath, a weakened Gon is stabbed in the back by an unknown saint and is left for dead. Outside, after the rest of the Saints escape, the Zodiacs hold a press conference announcing the defeat of the tower's boss, but at the cost of Lee Beom-geun claiming that he sacrificed his life for humanity. Obviously we know that's cap, as we unsurprisingly find out that Beom had survived, but now has no way out of the tower. Now missing his left arm, with a blade in his right hand and another in his mouth. Hey, that looks familiar. Driven by his desire to fuck over those who fucked him over, Beom decides that he ain't dying in this tower, so he tries to fight his way out. There's probably one thing I should have mentioned about the tower beforehand. The minor calamities in this tower have the ability to respawn. But although he knows this, our boy Beom is a fucking gigachad. The dude just straight up fights. Continuously. For 20 years. He fights until the point where the tower itself can't even keep up with respawning calamities. And as Beom strikes the final blow on the last remaining calamity as it begs for its life, after 20 long years of anger and struggle, our main character finally collapses and dies. In the next panel, we see him appear outside of the tower, sporting a magnificent mane and reborn into a younger version of his body without scars or injury. And, I'ma just say it, looking daddy as fuck. Later, he realizes on his new left hand a mark in the shape of a snake which begins to glow. From it, a bunch of notifications pop up in front of him, one of which telling him that now since he has experienced death, he has now received the power of the Ophiuchus zodiac sign. With his already overwhelming strength and newfound power, he vows to get revenge on whoever literally stabbed him in the back and left him for dead. And that's the basic premise. Hey, the story's nothing like Solo. Shh! Take a good look at Omniscient Reader and Second Life Ranker. Are the stories similar? No. Are the protagonists similar? No. Are you sure? Yeah, okay, I see it. But Omniscient Reader, no. Well then, if that's the case, then why are you recommending this manhwa? Okay, this is backtracking a bit, but do you remember that power fantasy itch that solo leveling used to scratch? That's exactly what Disaster Class Hero is. It's the exact same thing. By no means am I saying that it's better than solo leveling, nor am I saying that it's anything revolutionary or original. If you just miss solo leveling for what it was fundamentally, then this is it. I feel like to elaborate, I need to talk about wish fulfillment imbued hype. As I mentioned earlier, I love me my power fantasies. But why? Let me explain. Take Haikyuu for example. It's match point to Karasuno, and both teams have been going back and forth for a while now. We know the twins are setting up for their minus tempo, so what do we wish for? Obviously for Karasuno to block it. And that's what I'm talking about. We know it's gonna happen. We want it to happen. And any good author will know this. But it takes a great author to take full advantage of it. And in the case of Haikyuu, we see Hinata and Kageyama block it together, resulting in what, at least for me, is one of the hypest moments this season. Another example can be seen in the Misfit Demon King's Academy. The literal Demon King is reincarnated, enrolled in a school that was founded by his successors, whose sole objective is to find his reincarnation. And when he announces he is the anticipated reincarnation, no one believes him and everybody underestimates him. So what do we wish for him to do? Well, it's simple. We wish for him to prove them wrong. And guess what? He does. He begins to beat the literal shit out of anyone who underestimates him and looks down upon him in the most humiliating way possible. I mean, we've all seen this clip, right? He's fucking killing him with his heartbeat, man. Like, what? That shit's hype as fuck! Yes, the story's predictable, and no, it's not all that creative or original. But it does everything you want it to in a really satisfying way. One could say it literally fulfills your wishes. And that's exactly what solo leveling did. It fulfilled your every wish. You want Jinwoo to get OP as fuck? He gets OP as fuck. You want him to add this OP-ass character to his shadow army? He adds this OP-ass character to his shadow army. You want him to get best girl? He gets best girl. Are you starting to get what I mean when I say it scratches that itch? In all of these moments, on top of the hype you get when you look at the art and the story alone, you get that yes, do it moment. And when that happens, it's as if the author hears you and unironically says, hold my beer. Resulting in some of the hypest moments you'll ever experience in anime, manga, or manhwa ever. There's just no better feeling. I understand that this might not be for everybody, but for those select few that do fall under this category, that really do enjoy this wish fulfillment, I'm happy to say, at least at the time of recording this, the return of the Disaster Class heroes seems to be going down the exact same path. A few chapters in, we see that many constellation groups have taken interest in Gon, thinking that he has potential to become a disciple under their respective saints. So what does he do? He straight up shows them that he's way out of their league and is way stronger than the saints themselves. We see those same saints refuse to believe that our main character is the same Lee Gon that died 20 years ago. So what does he do? He proves that he's the same Lee Gon from 20 years ago by beating the shit out of them and reinstilling that fear that they once had of him. Along with how smug he looks while doing it, these moments demand you, as the reader, to be hyped. And guess what? You are. Now, in time, this could become a very poorly aged video. But even if it does, as disappointed as I may be, right now, the return of the disaster class hero is doing its job of fulfilling my wishes and filling that void that solo leveling had left behind. So I genuinely and wholeheartedly encourage you to read the return of the disaster class hero as your next power fantasy manhwa. And if and or when the return of the disaster class hero begins to stray away from this path, there's one thing I'll know for certain and be able to say with full confidence: at least it was better than Sword Art Online.